Hello, my name is Katherine Oostman, and I am the playwright behind The Truth About Whispers, one of the 2 plays in the Midnight Chapters double bill theater event produced by Scantic River Productions. Scantic River Productions had already lined up Monsters Are Made in the Minds of Men. They knew they wanted to use that as the first half of a double bill, and they were looking for a second play to pair with it. When they came to me and asked me if I would write a play, I was obviously thrilled. I had never written a play and was super excited by the idea, but the question was, what do I write about? So I pitched them a couple ideas, and of course, they were drawn toward Whispers, which was both exciting because I also loved this concept. It is one of the most complex concepts I've come up with, and I was also very terrified to write it for that reason. It deals with time travel, which if you know anything about writing, they tell you to stay away from time travel at all costs because you will write yourself into 20 million different corners, and it is very difficult to work your way back out of them without over-explaining, right? And at that point, it becomes an info dump of a play instead of an emotional experience, which you don't want because then you kind of have an audience that checks out because they're busy trying to figure out and puzzle through the rules of time travel. I wanted to tackle time travel on a micro level. So often we see time travel handled in a grandiose form, right? It's the Avengers with these large paradoxes that alter all of human history, and at a certain point, it's hard to relate to. When I think about time travel personally, more often I'm interested in the things in my own life that I wish I could go back and fix, right? The micro changes of, I wish I hadn't said that one thing. I wish I had come into that conversation with a bit more empathy or grace instead of coming in with my own stress that colored how we spoke to each other. I had already had a fragment of the concept of Whispers rolling around in my brain for a while. I just wasn't sure what I wanted the format to be and how I wanted the story to take shape. So it was mostly just this sort of ambiguous idea. But the more I thought about staging it and how we could represent time on stage with choreography, with lighting cues, with sound, it made so much sense. And having one memory that we revisited over and over and over again that changes almost like a song in round, the most meaningful setting for that felt like a New Year's Eve party. So the bulk of this play actually takes place at the same New Year's Eve party. We just see it 4 different ways. To me, that felt like an incredibly cool challenge as a writer because you have to find a way to cue the audience that this is the same memory while also making it different enough not to be boring, to say something new. That was a true puzzle as a writer. It took me probably twice, maybe 3 times as long to write this play than anything else I've ever written, novels included. I went way too casually into the realm of writing something with time travel and with an evolving memory. The truth is that it was a bit like revising before I even had a draft down on paper, because if you're repeating a memory, you have to be tracking the first versions of that memory and making sure that your continuity is correct and that everything is evolving in a way that structurally makes sense for something you've never actually written yet. When I finished the first draft of the script, I turned it into Kelly, Colby, and Nathaniel, my producers at Scantic River, and held my breath. I truly didn't know if it was any good. Like I said, I had never written a play before. I had read as many as I could to try to understand the format, to try to understand the power of theater in script form. But I was doing that and time travel and an ensemble cast and all of these choreography crews and all of these things onto the page that made it so much more complicated probably than it needed to be. But what I hoped was that it was doing something unique and different. And I didn't know whether that was successful or not. I got a text back that night that was just all caps thrilled. And I cannot describe to you the relief I felt. They loved it. They had nothing but amazing things to say about how true it felt, about how meaningful it felt. And as a writer, you can't ask for a better response ever to your work. So I've been asked a few times what the theme that I would like people to take away from this play is, and I will say that it is partially vague on purpose because it is meant to be a theme that is a feeling that we have all experienced before but maybe not defined. And that is that feeling of wondering if we ever, as people, can change. Can we change? Can we change consciously? Can we change subconsciously? Or are we doomed to make the same mistakes forever and ever? And when we regret a choice we have made, how do we pick ourselves up from that experience? Overall, I think both Monsters and Whispers are about this idea of memory and regret and trying to understand how you move forward into the future with this sort of trauma, whether it's self-made or inflicted upon you by another person, whatever the case is. How do you reconcile that and let those memories go without necessarily erasing them from your personhood, because they are also the things that make us who we are?